Hi everybody, welcome back. We are diving into Module 4, where our focus will be on fantasy and realistic fiction. This week, first week of Module 4, you will read about fantasy in our readings. You will complete our reading organizer, due on Tuesdays, focused on fantasy. And then you have a reading commentary that is due on Thursday. And this week our focus is on 100 most frequently challenged books. A lot of you were very interested in this topic early in the course, so you have another opportunity now to dig even deeper. You are going to choose 2 books from the 100 most frequently challenged books list, and you will then read them. You can get a hard copy of the book from the library, you can use a digital ebook, or even a YouTube read aloud. Once you have read each book, for each book you will include the title and author, and then a discussion or why and should the book be banned. So why do you think it was banned, and should the book have been banned? Then you will do your own research. This is doing research with an outside source. It does not have to be a scholarly article, but it should be a reputable source of some type. We know at this point in college that Wikipedia would not be considered a reputable source. So just an article or a link to separate articles or links that discuss banned and challenged books in more detail. And include the link and then discuss what you learned and the information that you received by doing that research. Next, you're going to describe the topic of the book that you had read, and then tell us what you think might have been intriguing about that book and why you believe that there was a cause for challenge. Typically, there is a topic or a certain subject that certain groups might feel is inappropriate, and that topic is usually very intriguing by audiences. So really dig deep on why you think that is, and then include an image of each book. If you choose not to read the books or find a read aloud on YouTube, you can do option 2, which is read the synopsis and 2 reviews of the books for each book, so a total of 4 reviews, and then answer the following questions, same questions as up top. Do your research, discuss why and should the book be banned, and so on. As we know, our initial post is always due on Thursday, and please be sure to respond to at least 2 peers by Sunday. Once you have done your reading commentary, your focus then is going to be on your second literature study. I hope that you have had the opportunity to complete reading The Hunger Games. Remember, your digital copy is located in the course. And this week we are diving into our second literature study. This is a hands-on literature study, so you will need a printer. If you don't have a printer, you can click on the template here, and you can simply try to trace this yourself. You will need to print out 12 of these circle images or draw as perfectly perfect as you can 12 of these. This is the only time I will have you use a printer in this class, so do plan ahead if that is going to be a challenge. And yes, you can draw it if you prefer, but try to make it as perfectly perfect as you can. Okay, so once you have read the book, you are going to create what we call a Bloom's Ball, and this is what it looks like. It's very cool, and my idea is that you will have a physical representation of this Bloom's Ball to use as you're in your teacher tool belt. So you don't need to turn this Bloom's Ball into me. You will be taking photographs of it. I just showed you the template. You're going to print out or draw 12 of the circles. Cut out the circle and leave the tabs as they are. So once you have the circle cut, you will then fold the tabs on the lines like you're seeing here. So this person cut out the circle. Once the circle was cut, they folded each of these lines together. Now the idea is once you have actually completed the assignment, you will then staple the folded sides all together to create one big magnificent ball. Let's talk about the actual assignment first. So use this Hunger Games assignment book report here. Once you get to the assignment details, you'll notice that you're only going to be focusing on one of the sections of the Hunger Games. In your book, it is sectioned off into 3 sections. You need to choose which section you want to discuss. The book does the sectioning itself, so search through the book and find the section that you would like to focus on. The book is much too long to do all 3 sections. So let's just say we'll talk about section 1 for the purpose of this story. Use your section and create the slides of the ball using the prompts below. This is based on Bloom's taxonomy. So I like to start at the bottom of the Bloom's taxonomy, and then we'll work our way all the way up to the top. Now, each of the templates we refer to as circles is its own page. So follow the directions and it should be pretty straightforward. The Remember section is using 2 templates or 2 circles. One circle will be write the title, author, and copyright date of the book. That's it. The second circle will be write 4 interesting facts about the author. Done. If you want to print these out, print out that information, type it and print it, and glue it on to the circle, that's fine. If you have lovely writing and you want to write it yourself, that's fine too. Understand just uses 1 circle, and you will draw a picture of the main character and write a description of him or her, including their personality traits. If you don't want to draw and you want to use a digital image, print it out and paste it on, that is fine. Apply uses 2 circles. First circle is to draw a picture or use a digital image of one of the settings from the section of the story and describe it. So in section 1, she is still in her homeland for part of it. So maybe you will draw a picture of her district. And then the second circle, write 3 questions that you would like to ask the author or any character from this section of the story. So if you want to know something more specific about Katniss and you have the opportunity to ask her 3 questions, what would they be? Analyze uses 4 circles. First, you're going to draw a picture or print a digital image of a surprising part of this section of the story and describe it. So it's a picture and a description. Then you're going to break down in 3 circles the beginning, middle, and end of that one section. So section 1 is my example. The main events that summarize the story. There are no images in these sections. You are simply writing the main events in the beginning, middle, and end here. The evaluate section is 1 circle. This is where you're going to predict what might have happened if the problem in this section of the story was not solved, at least 5 sentences. The problem in part 1 probably wasn't solved yet, or maybe it was, depending on your idea. So what might have happened if what happened didn't happen and something else happened, if that makes more sense to you. We're just kind of thinking outside of the box. We're evaluating here. And then we're coming up to the top of our Bloom's taxonomy, and we're using 2 circles to create. We are going to rate the book on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, and you will explain why you would or would not recommend this book to a friend with evidence, explaining the reasoning why. It should be at least 5 sentences. And then explain why you think the author wrote the story in the last circle. So this is that creative thinking where we are going to really think outside and reflect upon the reading experience. Once you have written all of these on each of your circles, you will have a total of 12 circles. Jumping back to our images here, once now you can see, here we go. I almost fell out of the tree. The voice belongs to Peeta. So she's talking about Peeta. Here's the tree, and she's about to fall. Here's all the characters looking up at her. Just an example. Then that person folded all 5 sides along with folding all the 5 sides of the 11 remaining circles and began to staple. There is no rhyme or reason how you staple. It might feel awkward at first, but if you follow these directions, the tabs will be clipped on the outside, like you can see, like little wings, and it will create a really cool ball. This is a wonderful assignment to use in the classroom. We did this in the classroom when we were teaching face-to-face, and you can see my students really loved using their markers. They got very involved. Here's a picture of all of them. Lots of handwritten, lots of beautiful drawings. Some students were amazing artists. I don't expect that of you. I am not. And so for online, if you would rather type it out and print out digital images, that's fine. Your submissions should include a photo of each of the slides, or excuse me, each of the circles, so that I can actually read them, because you can see I can't read every side, and then a picture of your put together ball. So there should be one picture that you put it together, and then 12 actual pictures of the slide. So you're submitting actually 13 pictures. If you want to put that all onto a Google slide and submit one slide, that's great. If you want to upload all, 13 pictures, that's fine too. It's actually easier if you put these all on a slide, a Google slide or a PowerPoint for you, but I'm happy either way. Okay, once you have completed that Hunger Games literature study, the next week is on realistic fiction. We don't have a literature study due. We're just going to read on realistic fiction. We will then complete our ever so wonderful and we love so much reading organizer on realistic fiction. And this week we will focus on the Newbery Award winners. Newbery Award winners are chapter books. So because of that, you only need to read one book for the Newbery Award winner because it's a chapter book. I don't expect you to read 2 chapter books in a week. These are really fun reads. So pick one that you love or that you've always wanted to read and enjoy it. It will be hard to find a read aloud of a chapter book on YouTube, so this would likely be one you're going to need to find an actual hard copy or a digital book. If you can find a read aloud on YouTube, that would be awesome, but that is a little tricky and might be a little long. You could also use an audiobook of this too. If you have a subscription to Audible or something like that, that would be fine. So in your initial post for the one book, and I will change this because it should just say one book, it needs to include the title and author, the category. This is going to refer back to our readings. What category of realistic fiction does this book fit into? Our readings will give you some very specific answers here. Adventures or survival stories, animal stories, humor, mystery or thrillers or intrigue, romance stories, school, friends, and family, social problems, or sports stories. If you're not sure, go back and reread realistic fiction. Explain why is this book accessible or relatable to youth. Young readers, and young adults love Newbery Award winners. They're awesome books. I'm sure you will think back to some that you have read and not even realized that they were Newbery Award winners, and they might be very near and dear to your heart. What topics does this help the youth deal with in 3 to 5 sentences? Because these are always specifically focusing on youth issues. And a good judge of realistic fiction is that the main character has a balance of both good and negative qualities, right? Because we're human. Describe the main character in your book and explain at least one good and one negative quality of the character with an example from the book and attach an image. For option 2, same thing. You will read the synopsis of the book as well as find 2 reviews. And instead of talking about the character, you will tell us about the reviews. What were the overall perspectives of the reviews of the book? Did the reviews influence your wanting to read this book further? Why or why not? And include the 2 links to the reviews. Other than that, all of the answers are the same. Okay, everybody, the last thing you need to do is choose a program of study. This is like choosing a major. Many of you already have a major, so you will just write to me, I have chosen a program of study. My major is. Some of you might not be ready. If you're not ready, just say I'm still exploring my options. Otherwise, please meet with an advisor and turn in your updated program.